And welcome, folks, to another edition of the Michigan Recruiting Insider. And we are back with the man of the hour. And he is back for the third time in Ann Arbor. And when we talk about a guy traveling a long way, he has come a great distance all the way from the Aloha State. Mr. Malakai Lee here in studio, in the Michigan Insider Studio. Malakai, thanks a lot for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Hey, man. So, boy, it feels like, almost a year now. You came and earned your Michigan offer.
Yes, sir.
Came back for the SC game, and now you're back here again for a visit. But let's rewind the tape and go all the way back to earning that offer.
Right.
And that experience. What was that like? What was that experience? Did you know when you came on the visit that you were likely to get an offer when that happened?
You know, I tried to stay as humble as possible. I want to come out here and just prove to, the Michigan staff that, I could be an asset for them and an athlete for them. So I just came out here with my intention set on getting that offer. And, I'm just thankful for them, thankful to them for offering me and, trying to put me as a top priority.
And obviously they did because you have been one of regardless of positions, you've been one of the guys that they have spent a lot of time and energy on, and regardless of class too.
Right.
But that is something that I think sort of transcends position and coach, because they have spent a lot of energy on you across the entire staff. So let's rewind the tape before you even came on the visit to Michigan, though, because they had to find out about you as well.
Right.
Your beginnings in football. So before you started getting recruited, take me back to your growth in the sport of football.
Shoot, as a kid, I was never really a football player. I was always overweight, big, tall, and around 6th grade, found out about football, tackle football. I started playing when I was in 6th grade, 12U, with the Metro Tigers, and I wasn't the best player. I started off at D-line, worked my way out to O-line, and then I started training with my former mentor, Coach Matt Fonga. He passed away during COVID of 2020, but he believed in me, and he believed that I could be a great player, and trained me every night. As soon as practice was over, my practice finished at around 7 o'clock. Stayed with him till about 10 o'clock p.m. and trained with him every night, running ladders, running hills, and he made me better as a player. And one of the first trips I decided going out to, I went out to Florida, and I played in a little tournament over there, and that's when the recruiting world started happening. I got my first interview, and after that, I figured out how to get onto Twitter, get onto Huddle, and my 8th grade year, me and my family, we decided after he had passed away that it would be best if I had moved out to the mainland, to California, to try and compete and just learn the way how football is played up here. So it was a tough move for me. I moved out there for about half a year. I played with the Harbor Area Pilots. Great football team, great program, very family oriented, and we played against the OG Ducks. We played against the OC Buckeyes, and I just went out there and tried to ball out, and I actually ended up getting my first offer from Texas, and just from there,
wow,
it went on.
Wow! Basically after your 8th grade, so as a 9th grader,
yep,
you picked up an offer from Texas.
Picked up an offer.
Well, man, first of all, shout out to you as a young man for being that determined.
Thank you.
Shout out to your family.
Yeah, for sure.
For the kind of sacrifice, first for taking you all around the country, a sacrifice for letting you go to the mainland.
Right. Yeah.
Right then, I'm watching you now. I see your pops over here,
Yeah.
getting you all across the country recruiting.
Yes, sir.
Wise now. There's a lot of sacrifice to get you to this point.
Yeah.
But grinding, obviously, has gotten you here now. So,
Yes, sir.
recruiting has gotten you all of these offers, Malakai.
Yes, sir.
How do you, when you have all of these, I was talking to Joey O'Brien about this, when you have all of these offers, all of these options, how do you begin to narrow it down?
Sure, my parents have always been open about me with recruiting, and they've told me that the college, I make the decision that they're going to support me through everything. But through narrowing it down to these top 6 schools, you know, it was a long, thoughtful process, and we just looked at all the variables. You know, I felt with these coaches that recruited me, I felt the most connected with in my top 6, and you know, my family felt the same way, and we just decided that from the 20 schools that I had, I was going to shift them down to 6, and you know, we've just rolled with it from there.
Yeah, man. So clearly, Michigan made an impression on you.
Yes.
Because you got to come a long way to go to Michigan, and you, like I said, this is your 3rd time here.
Right.
Now, so what is it about Michigan that has made it, and it might probably sounds like it might have been more than one thing, but what are the things about Michigan that have made Michigan resonate with you so much?
I mean, the fact that Coach Moore, head coach, is a former offensive lineman, you know, that just adds to the fact. And Grant Newsome has done a great job with the O-line. I'm a big fan of Taylor Lewan, and he was a Michigan man, and I know that Michigan, they put together some good offensive linemen. So I'm looking forward to this year to see if they can develop Andrew Babalola and see how he does.
Okay. So have you connected with Taylor? With Taylor Lewan?
He actually responded to one of my.
Okay, I was about to say, because we could make that connection happen.
Yeah.
You know, I actually covered Taylor in high school. You know, all the way up through high school to the Under Armour All-American game.
Really?
His dad, Dave, who had the boxing gym over here in Ann Arbor, the whole nine, his whole journey. And obviously he does busting with the boys now. Really good dude.
Yeah.
So we can tag him on Twitter. I'm sure Taylor will shout you out. He's still a big Michigan dude to this day. But, you know, his journey to a first-round pick, he was grinding, and he was an under-the-radar guy that blew up into a big-time recruit and really found his way with Michigan. But it started with relationships. So it really feels like, though, your relationships with Michigan are a big deal. You talked a lot about Sherrone Moore, but what about your relationship with Grant Newsome?
Oh man, Coach Newsome, he's been awesome since the first day I met him at Anna's in summertime. You know, he's just been very clear, very consistent about what he wants, how he wants to develop me as a player. And for me, that's the most important thing, is not development through college to get me to the next level, because the NFL is the end goal for me. You know, that's where I make the money for my parents and, you know, for my family, and I just want to be able to provide and support them, you know. And I know that through him, he has developed some great offensive linemen with Coach Moore, and you know, I think that with him, you know, I could do some great things.
So when you kind of compare and contrast, I mean, you look at all these schools, and you know, they're all going to have coaches who have been places. But I'm curious, when you look at the you got Sherrone Moore, you got Grant, but then there are other coaches around Michigan as well that contribute to the offensive line sort of matrix.
Yeah.
So do you look at the other offensive line pieces too?
So we met Coach Castillo. He was a great guy. I mean, yesterday he took off his shoes and just started coaching me right then and there. And you know, you could tell he has a lot of experience in the league, and he was showing me some of his players who he coached, showing me the exact techniques, and you know, you can tell it works. You can tell it works just how good they are and how dominant they are. And you know, looking at him and how much experience he has and the knowledge he has, that's something else that I put into perspective and put into factor.
All right, so you had a camp experience at Michigan.
Yes.
You had a game day experience at Michigan for the USC game. So reflecting upon that, what was that like, and how did it compare to other game day experiences that you've witnessed?
For me, it was special because that was my first ever college football game. You know, I came out here. To be honest, they say the big house is the big house, and I wasn't expecting it to be that vast. And there was just so much people there, and you know, I got to watch the offensive line warm up, and I just seen how locked in they were. Miles Hinton, oh my goodness, he left tackle, just super dominant, super quick on his feet. And when he had this one pull where he pulled to the outside and whacked one of the free safeties coming across, and it was just violent. And, you know, that game day experience definitely was a memory for me, you know, core memory, because my first ever game, and I got to watch it at the big house.
Mm-hmm. So much of your sort of recruiting experience seems to be based on, like, feels like you're kind of comparing things to Michigan. You camped here, your first game was here.
Right.
So many of your firsts were Michigan.
Right.
I mean, Grant came out to came out to Hawaii, Sherrone came out to Hawaii. So now as you move forward, what comes next? You narrowed it down to 6.
Right.
What comes after this, Malakai?
Well, after this trip, we're leaving out to Alabama next week, and we have some official visits set. We still have to release them, but we have them set for all of June, all of summer. So we'll be taking those, and after that, I'll be committing to whatever school that I decide.
So do you have a commit date or time frame
Not
when that's
yet.
going to happen?
I was thinking more towards the end of summer. I think that works best with me. Just gives me enough time to really reflect on everything that has happened within those months. And I know it's going to be a lot, but for me and my family, we just want to make sure we take time to make the right decision.
So there are a couple of aspects of Michigan that I haven't heard you talk about yet. Chip Lindsey, your impressions of Chip Lindsey so far?
Oh man, great dude. Met him yesterday. He kind of broke it down for me how he his whole career and how he went through Auburn, and that was the first time I ever met him, and I could tell that he's just a great dude, great coach. I can't wait to see how he does in spring practice today. What he has to bring to the offense, and I'm hoping it will be good for Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, and there's the other one.
Yes.
So Michigan gets the #1 quarterback in the country. He decides to stay home. Obviously, that was a huge development.
Right.
What did you think when you saw that, and how did that impact you as a recruit?
I was honestly shocked, and I mean, not surprised at all. Bryce is a great player. He's a great person. I just met him when I was walking out of Schembechler just 10 minutes ago. Great person, and he seems very humble, and man, he can sling the ball. So I definitely want to see what he does with the team this year, and it would be great working with the #1 player in the nation.
You mentioned Andrew Babalola. You watch his film. I mean, I watch your film too. So I watch your film and Animal, but watching his film, absolute animal.
He's an absolute animal.
So, I mean, it's hard not to picture one animal on one side,
one animal
on the other
right,
side.
Right.
I mean, I have those thoughts. I don't know if you do, but I mean, have you had those thoughts?
Putting it all into perspective, it would be great, having 2 monsters on both sides, and Coach Newsome has made that a point of fact that, Andrew, he can play both ways, I can play both ways, so I definitely think it would be a powerhouse.
So final couple here. When you get ready to sit down and make that decision, Malakai, when you do that, what are going to be the biggest factors in that choice?
For me, I mean, I think, as I brought up earlier, it's definitely the development, and where I feel is home, and that's best for me. I'm not afraid to go far away, but I know that I'd want to go to someone that's going to take care of me and keep me on track. That's going to keep me straight. And I know that Michigan has lots and lots of they have lots of courses and stuff, and they have people to keep you on track. That's most important for me.
And then, a consideration for every guy these days has to be NIL. I mean, how big of a factor is that for you, and how are schools doing at presenting that factor to you?
Some schools have been transparent with it. Michigan, they've been very transparent with it, and I know that there's a deadline on April 7th, but for me and my family, we've always felt like that, and we've always felt that NIL is something big. The NFL is always going to be bigger, and we want somebody that's going to get me to that level. But NIL would definitely help supporting my family and stuff like that. But for me, it's always been about development.
All right. Last thing I need you to do, man, because you did it at the very beginning. You talked about all of your journey.
Right.
You can't do it without your family.
Yeah.
I need you to kind of, on your way out, talk about how they've helped you along the way and how important they've been to getting you to this point and even beyond.
I'm so grateful for all the sacrifices that they do for me. We just had my little baby sister about two 2 months ago, and you know, that she's my replacement. But for all 5 of my siblings under me, you know, I'm just so thankful to all of them, and to my parents for making all the sacrifices, and you know, just loving me and supporting me through all of this. And it's been a hectic journey, and you know, I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm super grateful for all of them. And they've just been so flexible with me, and I know that they put a lot of time and effort into the sacrifices, and you know, I'm just so grateful for all of them.
Appreciate it. Malakai, good luck, man.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Malakai Lee. See you on the next edition of the Michigan Recruiting Insider.